My fiancée said. I sold your dad's watch for our future. My heart dropped. That watch was my last link to him. She called it an investment. My bank showed a pawn deposit and a cash pull, and her text said we needed to talk tonight. I saved every message. I needed proof. I, 29 male, work IT support in Columbus, Ohio. My dad passed a few years ago. He left me his vintage Omega. It ran a little fast. I did not care. I kept it on my dresser when I slept. I wore it for interviews and quiet days off. It felt like his hand on my shoulder. My fiancée, Lily, moved in last year. We planned a small wedding. Backyard, strings of lights. Brisket from my uncle's smoker. Nothing fancy. We wanted a down payment more than a ballroom. We set a budget. We shared a joint account for shared bills. We agreed to talk before any big move. That morning my phone buzzed with a deposit alert, then a cash withdrawal. The deposit line read from Buckeye Pawn. The cash pull matched half the deposit right after. I stared at the screen. My dresser looked wrong. A light strip of dust shaped like a circle sat on the wood. The watch box was gone. I texted Lily. She sent the line about our future. She said the watch was old. She said it would help us get ahead. She said she would explain later. I sat on the edge of the bed and breathed slow. Then I opened my notes and typed the serial number from memory. Dad had drilled it into me when he gave it to me. I had also taken a photo of the certificate. I pulled the image up. I saved it in 3 places. I called my sister Megan. She is blunt. She asked one question. Did she ask you first? I said no. Silence. Then she said, write everything down, screenshot everything, do not rage, stay steady. I messaged Lily again. I asked where the pawn ticket was. She said she threw it out. I waited. I did not fight over text. I walked the apartment and looked for missing things. My dad's cigar box still sat under the bed. The small velvet pouch with the extra spring bars was gone. I checked our hallway camera. I set it up after a break and down the block. It shows the front door and the shoe rack. At 8:12 a.m., Lily walked out with my watch box tucked under a scarf in her tote. She looked right at the lens. She did not hide. That hit me harder than the alert. I took the video off the camera and saved it. I made a folder with the bank alert screenshots, the watch warranty photo, and the clip. I labeled each file by time. At lunch I called pawn shops. Columbus has more than you think. I hit the ones near our apartment first. I asked for Carlos at Buckeye Pawn. He answered. I gave the serial number. He paused. He said he had an Omega checked in that morning. He could not release it without the ticket or proof of ownership. I said I had the serial, the warranty card, and video. He said bring them. He said the hold clock runs 30 days. After that it goes to the case. I printed the warranty photo at the office. I drove to the shop. The watch sat in a clear bin behind the counter. I knew the scratch on the lower lugs. My chest ached. Carlos handled it with care. He compared numbers. He nodded. He explained the pawn amount and the payback with fees. He pointed to a price sheet. The fee stung, but losing the watch hurt more. I paid to redeem. He handed me a receipt and a paper stating release after a waiting period. He looked sorry for me without saying it. I thanked him for being straight. I left with a temporary claim slip and a date. The watch would sit in the safe for the required period. Then it would go back to Mead. I drove home and placed a cheap quartz on the dresser. I wanted to see if Lily noticed. She came home late. She put a grocery bag down and smiled. She went on about meal prep. I waited. Then I said I saw the bank alert. Her face changed. She said she used the money for a wedding venue hold. She said she did not want to bug me at work. She said it was a surprise to keep us on track. I asked which venue. She said, the Juniper House. I asked who she spoke with. She said, Aaron. I asked to see the email. She said she would pull it up later. I said the watch is at Buckeye Pawn right now. Her eyes flicked. Small move. Quick. If you blink, you miss it. I told her I set a pickup date. I told her the fees came out of my personal savings. I told her the watch would come home. I said I needed her to write that she took it without asking. I said I needed her to agree to pay me back for the fees. I kept my voice even. My hands shook. She refused. She said it was for whose? She said I was being dramatic. She said I made her feel like a thief. I wanted to shout. I said I did not give permission. I said it was my father's. I said we had a plan and she broke it. I walked to the bedroom and slept with the door open. I did not say goodnight. Update 1. I woke early and called the Juniper House. I asked for Aaron. A man answered. He said the only Aaron on staff left last month. He checked their ledgers. No hold under my name. No payment from Lily. No contact. He sounded busy and kind. He said a lot of couples call with mixed info. He wished me luck. I sat in my car and let the air run cold. I wrote a timeline on a pad. 8:12 a.m., Lily leaves with the box. 8:46 a.m., deposit at Buckeye Pawn. 8:50 a.m., cash withdrawal. No venue payment, no email. That was the day. Megan texted me a screenshot. Her friend Tara follows Lily's private account. Tara sent Megan stories from last night. Lily at a boutique on the short north. Mirror selfie with a white shopping bag you see in every influencer post. A caption about treating myself. No tag of price. No mention of a venue. I went out to the car and checked Lily's glove box. Registration, mints, a gas receipt, and a folded slip. Pawn ticket. My name printed on the description line as Omega, stainless, Ryans. Lily had written no last name. The handwriting was hers. The date matched the bank alert. The amount matched the deposit. I took a photo and put the ticket back in the exact fold. I texted Lily. I asked again for the venue email. She said she would get it tonight. I told her I had the pawn ticket photo. She went silent. 15 minutes later, she sent an apology paragraph. She wrote that she panicked because her credit card minimums went up. She wrote that the watch was sitting in a drawer, and this felt smarter. She wrote that she planned to tell me once she solved it. I wrote back 2 sentences. Would talk before you touch my dad's watch. Bring the boutique bag and the receipt home tonight. She sent a heart emoji. That did not touch anything. I ended that update with one action. I called Carlos. I asked if I could place a note on the item file. He said yes. He added that I was the owner, with serial and card on record. The hold stood firm. I saved the date in my phone. That was the beat. Update 2. Lily came home with the bag like it was no big deal. She pulled a purse from the tissue paper. Cream leather. Big logo. A price tag tucked inside. Trimmed off. She said it was on sale. She said she paid cash from her side hustle. She said it had nothing to do with me. She laughed like I was being stiff. I asked for the receipt. She said she lost it. I took a breath and asked to see her messages to the boutique. She called me controlling and stormed off to the shower. My phone buzzed. Megan again. This time not a story. Screenshots from Tara, a group chat. Lily and her old ex Brandon, and 2 of her friends. They joked about the Omega haul. Brandon wrote, finally treating yourself. Lily wrote, he worships that watch. He will survive. A friend stuck in a laughing emoji. Then a screenshot of a flight confirmation to Miami for 2 under Lily's points account. Flight in 2 weeks. Hotel deposit paid. The cash withdrawal matched the deposit. I felt sick. The bag was not the only goal. A trip with Brandon sat on the calendar. I saved every screenshot. I did not write back to Megan right away. I walked to the bathroom door and told Lily I was going out. I took my keys and left. I drove to Megan's. She lives in a small ranch with a blue door. She made coffee. I gave her the pawn ticket photo, the bank alerts, the Ring camera clip, the boutique bag, and the group chat screenshots. We laid them on the table. Megan looked at me hard. You know what this is? She said. I nodded. I booked a storage unit near my office and moved the things that mattered to me that night. My dad's cigar box. The photo albums. The quilt my grandmother made. I left the furniture. I left the rest. I wrote Lily a short message. I am staying at Megan's. I will handle the watch. We will talk when you are ready to be honest. She blasted my phone after that. Walls of text, accusations, tears, then blame, then silence. The next day I called the boutique. I asked for a copy receipt. The manager said they needed the card used or the exact time. I had neither. I asked if any purchase matched the bag and the time in the story. He said he could not give details. He paused. Then he said if a customer returns a bag within 7 days with no wear, they can process it. He was careful with words. He did not promise anything. I dropped by the store with the bag in its pristine state. The manager examined the stitching and the hardware. He printed a merchant copy with a return amount and a reference number. He handed me store credit because the payment came from cash. I took it. I did not want a purse. I wanted a paper trail with a manager name. I emailed it to myself with the subject line, boutique credit from Lily's bag. That night Lily messaged me a long voice note. She said Brandon was a friend. She said the Miami trip was for a bachelorette that she forgot to tell me about. She said I was making her feel unsafe by moving things. She said she needed me to come home and talk face to face. I sent one reply. Please send a written statement that you took my watch without permission and spent the funds on a bag and a trip. Please confirm you will repay the pawn fees and the redemption amount by the end of the month. I will not meet in person without that." She sent a string of exclamation marks. Then nothing. I changed the locks on the storage unit. I moved my personal files out of the apartment. I called our landlord and told him I was not renewing. He said we had to put it in writing. I drafted a simple letter. 2 days later, a florist knocked at Megan's. A bouquet with a note. "I went too far. Let's meet tonight." I set the flowers on the porch. I sent Lily a time in a coffee shop near daylight and people. She agreed. She arrived with tears on her face and a bag of receipts. She set down a pawn ticket stub and a withdrawal slip. She admitted the bag. She denied Miami with Brandon. She said her friend booked it and put Brandon's name in as a joke. I slid the screenshots across the table. She saw her own words and looked away. I asked her to sign a short agreement. She would repay the pawn fees and redemption, and she would not touch my property again. She refused. She said I was treating her like a stranger. I said trust requires respect. She stood up and walked out. I ended that update with a quiet move. I emailed a small firm downtown that handles collections and small claims. Ms. Hart replied within an hour with a consultation slot. That was the beat. Update 3. Ms. Hart reviewed the folder in silence. She pointed to the Ring camera clip, the pawn shop record, the bank alerts, the boutique credit, and the group chat screenshots. She circled dates. She asked me 2 questions. Did you give permission? No. Did you ask for the money back? Yes. She drafted a letter to Lily. It asked for repayment of the pawn fees, the redemption amount, and the cost of Ms. Hart's time if it went to court. It asked for the return of any of my property in her possession. It gave 7 days. It stated that further access to my property would be trespass. We sent the letter by email and certified mail. Lily replied on the 2nd day. She accused me of humiliating her. She said she would have returned the watch if I had been patient. She said the bag was already gone. She said the Miami trip was canceled. She did not provide proof. 2 hours later, my hallway camera sent a motion alert. Lily stood at my apartment door with Brandon behind her. She had a spare key I had not known about. She tried it and failed. I had rekeyed. She banged the door. Brandon laughed. They left. I saved the clip and sent it to Ms. Hart. I called the storage facility and added a property manager notice to my unit. They put a note that only I could access. They added my photo ID to the file. They also added a note to call me if anyone asked about my unit. 2 days later, I got that call. A woman had asked if she could pick up her fiancé's things. The manager denied access. He sent me a written note that it happened. Megan found a group text where Lily told her friends I stole from her. She posted an Instagram story with a black screen and white text. It read, "Wild how some men control you with money and call it love." I wanted to reply. I did not. I sent Ms. Hart the screenshot. On day 7, Ms. Hart filed a small claims case. We asked for the pawn fees, the redemption amount, the boutique credit value, and court costs. We attached the agreement draft I had offered and Lily's refusal. We attached the video and the screenshots. The court served her with a date. Lily's mother called me. She asked me to drop it. She said Lily was under stress. She said couples work through worse. I listened. I said I wanted peace, not revenge. I said Lily removed my property without permission. I said court was the right place to resolve the money. She hung up. Brandon messaged me from a new number. He called me soft. He wrote that men like me lose their girls because they cling to trinkets. I blocked him. I sat in my car for a long time and stared at the steering wheel. My hands felt cold. Then I drove to Buckeye Pawn on the release date. Carlos smiled when I walked in. He brought the watch out in a blue pouch with care. He asked me to sign the release. He told me to check it. The second hand swept smooth. The crystal still had the tiny nick near the edge. I put it on and closed the clasp. It fit like it always did. I thanked him and left. I brought the watch to a jeweler for a quick check. He cleaned it and tested it. He wrote a service note with the serial, the date, and the condition. I put that note in my folder. I drove to Megan's and put the watch on her kitchen table. We both looked at it. We both breathed out. Court day came. The room was plain. A clock ticked loud. Lily wore a neat suit and kept her jaw set. Ms. Hart spoke for me. She laid out the timeline and showed the videos and messages. Lily's turn came. She said we were engaged and shared finances. She said the watch was part of our life. She said she planned to bring it back before I ever noticed. The judge asked one question. Did he give permission? Lily tried to talk around it. Then she said no. The judge looked at the papers. He said the facts were simple. He ruled for me on the fees and the redemption, and he added the filing costs. He did not award the full value of the bag credit since I had store credit, not cash. He told Lily to pay within 30 days. Lily cried in the hallway. She said I ruined her life. She said no one would want her now. I felt tired. I said choices have weight. I said I never wanted to be here. I walked away. That night I sat with the watch in my palm and thought about Dad. He used to say, you keep what you protect. He meant your word, your people, your peace. I had failed to protect my boundary with Lily at the start. I had ignored small lies about money and time. I thought love would smooth them. It did not. Boundaries are not anger. Boundaries are care. I moved into a one-bedroom near work. I put the watch on a small stand by the bed. I started seeing a counselor for my trust issues. We worked on patterns. We worked on speaking up before resentments pile up. We worked on choosing better and slower. I boxed up the engagement photos and drove them to Lily's mother's house. I left them on the porch with a note, wishing you peace. I did not knock. I did not text. I blocked Brandon everywhere. I muted Lily's circle. I did not check their pages. I set my phone to give me fewer notifications. I slept better. I picked up a new hobby. Running before work. Nothing intense. 2 miles on a loop near the river. It cleared my head. It made breakfast taste better. It made the day feel like mine. I called Carlos to thank him. He laughed and told me to stop by if I ever wanted to talk watches. He said a guy came in the other day with a box of old Seikos, and his face lit up like a kid. Simple joy. I liked that. I took the boutique store credit and bought Megan a gift card for her favorite shoe store through a swap site. She hated the idea of a bag full of my past. I turned it into a thank you for her support instead. Final update. Lily paid the judgment on the 29th day. Ms. Hart emailed me the proof of payment. The money hit my account 2 days later. I moved it into a separate savings account with a plain name. I smiled at the balance and then I stopped thinking about it. I met with Ms. Hart one last time to close the file. She told me I had done everything right after the first wrong. Document. Stay calm. Protect yourself. Seek a clean process. I thanked her. I paid her final invoice and kept the receipt in my folder. Then I put the folder in the back of my closet and left it there. I wore the Omega on Sunday when I visited my mother. She held my hand and turned my wrist like she used to when I was a teenager. She said Dad would be proud. I believe her. I no longer check Lily's social accounts. If someone tries to tell me an update, I stop them. I do not feed that story any more of my life. I made a new rule for myself. Love needs consent on money and property. Love needs spoken plans and written ones when the stakes rise. Love needs listening. A ring is a promise. It is not a pass. I will not rush the next chapter. I will keep my space clean. I will keep my word clean. I will wear the watch when I sit on the porch and watch the city light up. I will breathe. I will let this end be an end. The watch ticks on my nightstand now. It marks the seconds the same way it always did. The difference is me. I respect myself more. I trust myself more. I know what my line is, and I will speak it before anyone tests it again.